Greetings, mathies. Today is the last video for our quadratic unit, and we are going to take a look at vertex form. But first, a few jokes. All right. I like that pasta. Okay, so let me get a document camera good to go. All right, so here's what your notes look like. So vertex form is right here, okay? It's f of x. The a is going to be in front of parentheses. We've got this x minus h squared and then plus k. So we're going to talk about what we already know and then, find out what's going on with each of these functions and compare it to the parent function. Also, you can notice that the vertex is going to be h comma k, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit too. But let's talk about what we already know. The coefficient that's in front of the x squared term, that tells us if it's happy or sad. So if a is greater than 0, we know that that is a happy parabola, and our vertex is going to be at a minimum. If a is less than 0, we're going to have a sad parabola, and we will have a vertex maximum. So we've already talked about that, but just wanted to review what each of these letters, what it makes that parabola do. Okay, so number 2, we talked about vertical stretch and shrink before. So if the a is greater than 1, okay, so let's say it's 4, and even if it's negative 4, the absolute value of negative 4 is a positive. We are going to have vertical stretch. Okay, so remember that makes it skinny. So stretch skinny. If we ended up having a fraction in between 0 and 1, let's just say, for example, 1/2, or even if we have a negative 1/2, the absolute value of negative 1/2 is a positive half. And so that is going to be a shrink. So that just makes it wider. So I always kind of say in my head, stretch skinny, shrink wide. And then the last thing that we have already covered is the constant. Now, we used the letter C before. You notice it's the letter K. So we're just switching the variable there. But if it's greater than 0, that vertex is going to translate up. If the constant is less than 0, we are going to translate the vertex down. So the last thing that we have to talk about is really then that parabola shifting or translating left to right. So let's see what that looks like. If h is greater than 0, then your formula is going to look like x minus h. We're going to translate it h units to the right. If h is less than 0, then the equation is going to look like x plus h. And that's going to translate h units to the left. So we're going to take a look at a couple examples. We can always refer back up to these notes to help us, hey, what's actually going on with this function compared to the parent function. All right, so let's look at the first example. I'm going to label this A, H, and K. So number 1, we are determining if this is a vertex minimum or a vertex maximum. So I always look at the sign. 1/4 is positive, so we know A is greater than 0. It's going to be a vertex minimum. So all happy parabolas. And if you just need to draw kind of a picture just to remind you, feel free to do that. A happy parabola, it's like a smiley face. This would be a vertex minimum. Now 1/4, sometimes I have to look back at my notes. Okay, so does 1/4 make this statement true or the statement on the right true? Okay, 1/4. Okay, 1/4 is between 0 and 1. It's going to be a vertical shrink. So that's how I can use my notes. Now I'm going to, for number 3, I'm going to look at the constant. The constant's positive 5. Okay, so that tells me that that vertex is going to be shifted or translated up 5. And then I have the last thing is deciding, is it going to shift left or right? So when I look at the parentheses, I have x minus 2. Okay, so it looks like this one, x minus 2, so h is 2. So I am going to translate right 2. Now the last thing I'd like you to write is what the vertex is. Well, the vertex from 0, 0 would be going right 2 and up 5. That's actually an ordered pair. And so that's where the vertex for this function would be located. All right, now I'm going to go just slide over. I want you to label this A, H, and K, and I want you to pause the video and you go ahead and fill these out and then just come back to the video and see how you did. All right, so A is -3, so I know that's going to be a sad parabola. And so I know this is going to be a vertex maximum. -3, which statement doesn't make true? Well, the absolute value of -3 is a +3. So it's going to be a vertical stretch. My constant, that one's pretty easy to take a look at. My constant is -1, so I know I'm going to go down 1. And then my horizontal shift, this time it's x plus 6. And when I look here, okay, it fits this one. So it's going to translate 6 to the left. Now, when I write this as a vertex, because I'm going left, that means negative. Down also means negative. So that would be where the vertex ends up shifting from the parent function 0, 0. And then we can find that on the graph pretty easily. Okay, same thing, bottom left, label A, H, K. So again, I'd like you to pause the video, fill in your information, and then come back. A is +6. It's going to be a happy parabola. A is greater than 0, or it's greater than 1, and so we know that's going to be a stretch. Constant is positive, up 7. And then the translation, the horizontal translation, x plus 2. Again, don't be shy about looking at your notes, okay? It fits this one. It's going to translate to the left 2. So now we can figure out our vertex. Left 2, that's our x value. Because it's left, we want to write -2. Up 7 would be a positive. And so now we know exactly where the vertex of this parabola would be located. Okay, one left. Same thing here. This is good practice. Go ahead and pause the video after you get them labeled. This time A is a negative. Sad parabola. So we will have of vertex maximum. -2/5, it would fit in here. Absolute value of -2/5 is +2/5. We're going to have a vertical shrink. Constant, again, that one's, I think, the quickest, easiest one. That one's going to go down 8. And then our horizontal shift, x -4. Okay, so let's just look up here. It fits this one. It's going to translate 8, or I guess we're at 4, sorry. We're going to translate 4 to the right. And that's talking about the vertex. Now we can actually get that ordered pair. Right 4, that's our x value, and down 8, we need to make sure that we put a negative on that. All right, so go ahead and get this glued in your notes. And again, don't be shy about looking at the information here to help you. I think the biggest thing right away, just decide if it's a happy or a sad parabola, and that will get you started.